when we should heed at certain calls, 'cause the world...
Hi, I'm Anna.
Hi, I'm Molly.
Hi, I'm Amelia.
Hi, I'm Celeste.
And
this is our project about Harriet Tubman.
When we should heed at certain calls, 'cause the world, it seems, is right in its line.
We make these changes today.
Harriet Tubman did over 100 years ago.
Harriet Tubman, a hero. You might think of her as just a girl who freed the slaves, but I can tell you she's special. Harriet Tubman lived in the 1800s and helped give freedom to over 300 slaves from Maryland. Harriet had a dream, which was to create a world with freedom and everyone having their own choice. She wanted to make her dream into reality. She believed the world could change into a better place. Harriet Tubman was so important because if she hadn't gone to what she believed, we would still have slaves in the modern world. Harriet Tubman was born in 1820 in Dorchester County, Maryland. She was sold to many families growing up. All she ate was table scraps, and she was whipped all day, including the only home she had was a one-room cabin. She got hit on the head by a metal weight that a slave master threw at her. She had to go through dizziness, and she would randomly fall asleep when she was working, and her masters would call her lazy. In the 1850s, the Fugitive Slave Act was passed. This meant that the slaves could be taken from free states and returned to their owners. In order to be free, the slaves had to escape to Canada. Harriet wanted to help all the slaves escape to Canada to be free, including her family, so she joined the Underground Railroad as a conductor. Now Harriet Tubman is known as a famous Underground Railroad conductor. Harriet Tubman is someone you cannot forget, especially the fact that she changed life for slaves. Harriet Tubman too was once a slave, and she was born into slavery in 1820. Not only did Harriet escape slavery, she went back to Maryland multiple times to free her family and other slaves. Harriet Tubman led over 300 slaves to Canada so that they could truly be free. Harriet Tubman spoke for women's rights and also assisted in the Union Army during the American Civil War. Harriet dedicated herself to establishing schools for the free men. Even though she couldn't read or write, she understood the value of education. Tubman also worked with a friend, Susan B. Anthony, to support women who wanted to work outside the home. For example, Harriet was a nurse, and she believed that other women could work as well. Harriet changed the way we look at the world. She changed the way we think of people's freedom and everyone's choice. She changed the life for slaves. She changed the way we look at everyone. And she changed the way we think of people's rights and people's choices. We all know her as the risk taker. She had courage and bravery. Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman was determined to escape from slavery. So she escaped in 1851 by using the Underground Railroad, which brought her to Canada. After escaping to Canada, Harriet Tubman remembered that her family and other slaves and her friends were back at Maryland, still working as slaves. So she traveled back, and then she brought her family to Canada, and then she continued to travel back to help more and more slaves. Harriet Tubman was known as Moses because in the Bible, Moses helped his people the way Harriet Tubman did. Harriet Tubman made over 19 escapes and helped over 300 people, or slaves, to freedom.
Harriet Tubman was a strong slave. She freed over 300 slaves using the Underground Railroad. She led 19 different escapes from the South. They were living in Maryland where they were slaves, and they managed to escape to Canada without being caught. How Harriet Tubman found the Underground Railroad? Well, my estimation is she found someone and asked them where it was. She was very successful in the escape. Some people offered $40,000 reward for the capture. The Underground Railroad is actually not a real railroad. It's just a bunch of safe homes.
After helping a lot of slaves, Harriet Tubman passed away in 1913. From learning more about Harriet Tubman, we became more aware of her positive change. Even though she is dead, her story is still alive.
By studying Harriet Tubman, we became aware of the positive change that she made. Her story will always be alive. She's always inspiring us to do the extraordinary. Harriet Tubman will never be forgotten.
By learning about Harriet Tubman, we got to know more about how she changed Canada. Her history is still living.
As a result, there is no more slaves in North America.
When we should heed a certain cause, 'cause the world, it seems, is right in its line. 'Cause there's a chance we're taking in leading our own life.